Hello and welcome to week 2 of our money series, Faith-Filled and Faithful. And today we're going to be speaking about how to plan and manage your money. This is going to be an awesome one. Here, guys.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah, awesome. I'm surprised they didn't fire you guys. Like, I thought I was going to see new people. Okay, so
Can't get reverse that.
Listen, we're going to climb the corporate ladder. Yeah. Next time I'll be sitting here, trust.
Okay, I'm shaking, but it's okay. I'll play. Today we're going to be covering some very, very interesting resources that you're going to see in your book. I think they're really, really helpful. But before we get into that, if you've missed the first week, you can catch it on YouTube or you can catch it via our website. If you go onto our Church Alive website, you'll see all the links and you can watch that. And you can also catch the sermon on YouTube as well. Just so that you stay connected and you stay caught up on everything. Today, we're going to be speaking about planning, as I said, and managing your money. And I think this is very, very important. Just a quick quote for you guys, and you'll see it in your workbooks. A goal without a plan is just a wish. If we have a goal and we choose not to formulate and make a plan that can help us reach that goal, then it just stays as a wish.
Agreed.
And being faith-filled, number one, means that we choose to trust God with everything that we need. We choose to trust God for everything that we need. And when God provides for us, we choose to manage what he gives us so that we can manage it for everything that we need and for the legacy, for the generations after us. And I think there's two things that we all need to consider when speaking about planning and managing money. First one is we need to trust God to guide us as we plan and manage our money. Everything begins in prayer. Very, very important. And then secondly, we need to be intentional in managing our finances.
For sure.
As you'll see, the title of our series is Faith-Filled and Faithful. Meaning that when we decide to be faithful, we need to be intentional to manage, to get into a routine where we are always keeping track of our money.
100%.
And today, we're going to help you guys do that in the best way possible. Are you guys ready to jump into it?
Yeah, we're ready.
Awesome stuff. Okay, today we'll be looking at 2 practical principles that are going to help us manage and plan our money better. Emily, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So principle 1 talks about you need to take stock of what you have and living within your means. This means like if you're getting your allowance or your salary, don't already spend it. You need to know what do you already have to spend and allocate before you can actually go spending.
Yeah.
So don't go buying a car if you know you can't afford it to
100%.
try and just impress somebody.
Just to elaborate on that, I think a lot of people, they get caught up with the Joneses. They want to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
You know what that saying means? That means like, oh no, David's now got a new Ford. I better get a new Mercedes. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think this whole thing of trying to impress people tricks us into living into situations where we cannot afford things, but we're still buying it anyway, and we're getting those car payments, those balloon payments that we chatted about last week. And I think it's very important to like just think to yourself, okay, if nobody else existed and I wasn't trying to impress anybody, would I actually buy this item? Do I actually need it?
Sure. Yeah, man. And that speaks into as well feeling content. I think the word for that is contentment. But Emily, you're gonna touch on that later as you explain.
It's also about the faith statement. You need to plan within your margin.
Yeah.
You can't, as we mentioned before, you can't just go spending money that you don't have.
Yeah.
Because you're just digging a debt hole for yourself.
What are you doing? Sure. Don't dig that dead hole.
And just to touch on what you said, Emily, it's also very important to plan to live with margin. Okay. I mean, say for instance, you earn 10,000 Rand. I mean, how disappointing it would be if 25th of the month you already finished all your money. It would be quite disappointing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
However, if you say to yourself, I'm going to use 8,500 and then the 1,500, that can be used for any other thing, such as savings or emergencies, okay? Because you're creating space now to allow other things to take part.
And then you forgot, it's Emily's birthday. Oh, but
All this.
Yeah.
I got the margin. I can buy Emily 1,500 Rand gift. Can you imagine that? That's
I'd
great.
really like
What a gift.
Yeah.
Next level, man.
And think of like another example. When you drive a car, when you're driving behind someone, you make sure that you leave margin, you leave room for space in case something unexpected happens. Okay?
Powerful.
That's the same way we need to look at our money. Make sure that we have money for the unexpected, so we can increase our income for later.
Great stuff.
Sure. Yeah. And then the third principle, Timon, do you want to share with us?
I'd say it's a matter of perspective. So not being so caught up in like the month to month. Obviously, keeping track of the pulse. That's what I kind of considerate, like keeping a finger on the pulse of how I'm working with my money every week, every month, whatever it is. But also taking a step back and looking at over maybe a year perspective and saying, cool, I'm earning X. If you're earning that 10,000 Rand a month, that's 120,000 Rand a year.
Yeah,
And when you look at it that way, you know, then you can see where, okay, maybe I could save this amount and how much would that be a percentage monthly. So taking a bigger picture perspective at your money and seeing, okay, cool, what do I want to do with my money this year? What are the plans that I have for this year, especially coming up, you know, for, you know, the start of the year, you set your goals, ambitions. It's awesome to take a broader look at how you want to spend your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned it, because one thing that has been helpful for me is percentages. Using percentages when I'm budgeting my income.
Yeah.
And a very popular example is retirement funds. You know, when you're saving up for your retirement and you want to save up 10%, but you can't afford that in your budget right now.
Yeah.
Everybody can start somewhere.
100%.
So you start with 2%. You can start with 5% and work your way up and build your way to that 10%.
And you know what I also really love about that, touching on what we said earlier, is you're living within your means. So you're not saying, okay, cool, I have to save 2,000 Rand a month. You're saying, okay, cool, I'm earning the 10 grand, whatever amount that is. What percentage of what I'm earning currently, what can I work with? What can I do with this 10,000 Rand to make that work? And working it into percentages is extremely helpful because it makes you be realistic about what you can afford and what you can't.
Yeah. And that takes you back to knowing what you own and what you owe.
Yeah.
Because you can only work on your budget when you know those two things. But anyway, let's jump into the spending plan. You guys will see that in your booklet. We've given you some worksheets that are very helpful, that are going to help you guys as you budget. And we're going to be jumping into it right now. Anopa, do you want to share explain to us the first 5 sections of the spending plan and how it works?
Yes. So the spending plan is very important. It helps you plan, as we've been speaking about. And, you know, obviously you start off with your income, how much money you're making in the month. That'll be your starting point so that you can start allocating where everything's going. That makes sense. And at number 1, that'll be your tithing, your giving, okay, which is 10%. So that's the first thing you put on your spending plan.
Yeah.
And then secondly, what you put is your savings. That's your retirement. That is if, you know, your family and you're saving up to go to, you know, Durban or Cape Town at the end of the year.
Hey, let's go.
That's the fun stuff to save for.
Let's go.
You know, those jars starting putting 2 rand. Whatever. So that's savings. And then debts, you know, the store card debts, you know, that everybody's card that you always keep swiping. Lots of store debts, because credit debts. So that's the next thing that you need to put in your spending plan. Then after that, you have, you know, the housing. That's the mortgage payments that you have to make. The water, electricity, maintenance and repairs. Funny story, something from my house fell down, a whole part of the building.
Oh, no.
And then, you know, they had to replace it. So it's very important to, you know, make space.
And that was with the emergency fund. Am I right?
How did you know that?
Let's go.
So it's very important to have all those things as well. And lastly, you know, car and transport. Okay. So that's filling up your car with petrol, the oil services. And if you don't have a car, that's you using public transport. So that's a train, a bus, a taxi, or even Uber. So yeah, those are the first 5.
Then next on to the next couple of 5 ones. The first one we're starting off with is insurance. So obviously that's like with what you own, right? So if you own a car, if you own your houses, you need to be wary of stuff that may happen unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So with that, you may not want to get into your emergency funds. You could use your insurance stuff. Then you got your medical and health. So that might also fall under insurance, but like you need to be wary, like your medication that you may need to buy monthly or.
This one kills me every month. When I see that amount, I'm like, what are these guys? What am I insuring? You don't know.
You're insuring your body, man. Body.
It's expensive.
Then we got our household, which is obviously our groceries. We need to eat, right? Like we need food. So that will be like our groceries, any other expenses in our house. So like detergents, if we have a pet, well, we need to buy their food.
Yeah.
And then obviously leisure. I mean, we love to have fun, right? So like if we want to go to Goldry City, we need a budget for that.
I'm going to Durban. She's Goldry.
Yep.
Where you go?
I'm going
Cape Town.
Yeah, so like if we want to go away, we need to plan for all these things. And then the last one is our small cash expenditure. So like if we just have small side expenses that we just need to pay off in increments.
Nice.
You know, I just want to say, as soon as Jen and I got married, or just before we got married, we used this like every week. You know what I mean? To see, okay, cool. How much money are we going to have together? Starting making plans of, okay, cool. This is how much you're going to maybe be bringing in. This is how much I'm bringing in, and working through this. And we still use this every single month, to budget. And we've got other applications that we use to keep track of how we use our money every month. But this, especially for me, you know, maybe you've got a husband or a wife who's now the spreadsheet person, and you're not the spreadsheet person, and you're just like, whatever, I'm sure we'll make it happen. But it's important to, again, make a plan, because a goal without a plan is a wish.
It's a wish.
So make the plans and be intentional about how you manage your money. And I think this last section, which is your actual margin at the end, that's the most fun section. What we try to do every month is like, okay, we'll get there and we're like, oh, there's only 500 Rand margin. Let's see what we can move around, chop and change. Yeah. And it actually becomes like fun to see how we can make that margin higher or lower, whatever it is.
Nice.
And it's also a good indication of where your priorities are, where your money is going. Because when you sit down and you look at this, you realize, oh, flip, I'm spending 800 Rand on TV and I never watch TV. I might as well cancel it.
Yeah.
So I think this is an awesome tool for each of us to use, whether we're married or not, to keep track of where our money is going and keep a finger on the pulse.
Thanks, Simon, for filling in on that. With this also, Simon was referencing to this paper copy. We will be giving you this, but you don't need to follow this exact copy. You can modify it to your own needs and whatever expenses you have. You can also create an Excel spreadsheet where you can have it on you all the time. So like, if you're going to Pick and Pay, just like write in that little expense that you have.
And this spreadsheet is on the Church Alive website. If you go to the money series and you go to resources there, that's where we got it from. So you can all download it from the actual Church Alive website.
Yeah. All the resources are there. You just need to be intentional and use them. But right now we're going to be jumping into a testimony from Pastor Devi. So let's jump straight into it.
I know when Johan and I did our first money course, we were newly married, and we were excited. We wanted to do things God's way. And this is exactly where we got stuck, because it always starts off with your salary. And at that stage, neither of us were earning a salary. He was doing sales, commission only, and I was working in a therapy practice. So my salary was no more. I had months where there was lots of income and other months where literally I had zero income. And so we actually never even filled it in. I remember we got the whole workbook and everything, and we never filled it in. And for a while it was okay. And then we had children, and children get quite expensive. Yeah. And then our children got quite sick. And we had something which the financial institutions love to give you, and that's a credit card. And we thought, fantastic, we'll just use the credit that we've got to pay for the expenses. And we got into some serious financial difficulty. And I'll never forget the evening when we sat down and we actually did the exercise that we talked about last week, where we wrote down what do we own and what do we owe. And I can remember with tears in my eyes, the two of us looked at each other and we said, we actually cannot continue living here and living the way that we've been living. We're going to have to make some radical lifestyle changes. And for us, we went to the church first. We had an amazing group of people around us who prayed with us and gave us really good financial assistance and help in helping us redesign how we had been managing our money. I'm pleased to say that nobody actually gave us money. It's quite interesting to say that. They gave us advice that helped us restructure. And because of that, we've been able to give money to others. And I think that's a really amazing financial legacy. So the key principle that we learned is that you cannot spend what you don't have.
Yep.
And so we actually, at some stages, did it month by month. The income line was different every month. And sometimes we even did it week by week, where we said, this is what we've got in now. What are we going to spend this on? So that we were able to manage that. And as soon as you start to apply that spending plan to your living, it changes the way that you do everything.
Absolutely. I think what's really an important takeaway is to not do life alone and not to struggle alone. Yeah. I think a lot more people than we think actually have issues with their money, and they struggle with money, and they're covered in debt or whatever the situation is, and they feel like it's a hopeless situation and that's just how life is. And that's actually not the case. You know, I think when we live by godly principles and we live in community and we go to maybe somebody like yourself who's qualified and can, give really practical wisdom and advice on how to manage our money, that is an extreme weight lifted to say, okay, cool, no, there actually is a plan for me to get out of this rut or whatever I'm feeling about money, but just not doing it on your own.
Yeah. In community, we grow. I love the fact that you mentioned that You receive advice because you're connected to a community with people that are going through the same life experiences. And in a community, we pray together. So we can pray for you. We can pray with you. I want you to pray in your life groups. And let's stay together and stick together. Thank you so much for joining us for week 2 of Faith Filled and Faithful. And we will see you guys in the next video.